Mom said she got the mommy meal idea from Family Frolic, which I guess I should not have come as a surprise. Inside the bag was a tuna fish sandwich, an orange, and a little carton of milk, plus something wrapped in tin foil. Mom said I had to eat my fruit before I unwrapped the tin foil because that was my prize. But I wish I had just opened it right away because I wouldn't have eaten the whole orange if I'd known the prize was a pack of math flashcards. Roderick got flashcards in his lunch too, and we could both see where this was headed. So before Mom could turn the next hour of the trip into a tutoring session, I pulled out the bag of games Mom had packed in the big tote bag. The game I grabbed was called I Must Confess. And when Mom saw it, she got so excited that she forgot all about the flashcards. I read the rules, which were pretty simple. One person takes a card from the deck and they read it to everyone out loud to everyone else. I must confess, I've met a famous person. If one of the players has done the thing that's written on the card, then they earn a point, and the first player to get to 10 points wins. I was a little skeptical at first, but I have to admit, the game was actually kind of fun. I learned a lot of things about Mom and Dad that I never knew. I found out that Dad had a pet chameleon when he was a kid, and that Mom dyed her hair blonde once, which really surprised me. Believe it or not, even Roderick was getting into the game. He got a point for being the only person who'd ever slept out overnight for tickets to a concert, and another point for getting a bug stuck in his ear, which I remember like it was yesterday. Dad and Roderick were neck and neck with 9 points, and whoever scored next would win the game. Mom seemed really happy everyone was getting along and having fun. Then she pulled a new card out of the deck and read it. I must confess, I toilet papered a neighbor's house. I'm pretty sure Mom thought no one was going to get a point on that card because she was already searching for the next one. But Roderick started acting like he had just won the lottery. I win! Mom thought Roderick was lying to get a point, but he told her it was true. He said that a few months ago, he and his bandmates toilet papered Miss Tuttle's house next door after she called the police to complain they were making too much noise rehearsing. So there are rules about being too loud where you are disturbing or bothering other people in your community. So they were practicing for their band and they were being too loud and they disturbed or bothered their neighbor in her own home or on her own property. So she called the police on them. They didn't like that. They did not want to have the consequences. And so they decided to toilet paper her house or throw toilet paper in the trees and on the house. That is very disrespectful to do. Roderick thought the whole thing was pretty funny, but Mom didn't seem amused. Let me get this straight. You and two of your bandmates toilet papered an elderly woman's house? If I was Roderick, I would have changed my story real quick and said I was just joking around to win the game. But Roderick didn't seize his chance to bail out. No, there were actually 4 of us. Mom had Dad pull over to the side of the road, then handed Roderick her phone and made him call Mrs. Tuttle to apologize, which was really awkward for all of us. I'm sorry for toilet papering your house, ma'am. After that, it was quiet in the van for a long time. Mom was about to pop the next Spanish CD in the stereo, but luckily, Manny had fallen asleep by then, so she couldn't. If you wake Manny up in the middle of his naps, he'll go completely ballistic, and there's no calming him down. So whenever Manny falls asleep, Mom and Dad do everything they can to keep him that way. Hey, has anyone seen my... Shh! I was big on naps when I was Manny's age, too. I used to take an hour-long nap after lunch every day, and when I started preschool, we had an official nap time where everyone pulled out a mat and slept on the floor. If you ask me, I think they should give kids nap time all the way through college, but they stopped doing it after preschool, which I found out the hard way. On the first day of kindergarten, after we had our snacks, I asked the teacher where the mats were so we could lie down and recharge our batteries. But she said kindergartners don't have nap time, and I thought she was making a funny joke. Yeah, right. A few minutes later, the whole class was making paper bag puppets. Apparently, I was the only one who didn't get the heads up about the no nap thing, because the rest of the day, everyone else seemed fine, while I could barely function. I'm glad Mom remembered to bring a pacifier on the trip, because as long as Manny's got one stuck in his mouth, he can sleep through just about anything. Manny lost his favorite pacifier last night, but Dad ran out to get a new one at a store near our house that sells gag gifts. At the bottom, you see a pacifier that looks like a mouthful of teeth. This is for the little boy, okay? He doesn't have teeth like this. And gag gifts are gifts or presents that you would buy for someone as a joke. I guess it looks a little strange, but it works just as well as a regular one. Minnie had been sleeping peacefully for about an hour today when we stopped at a toll booth. A toll booth is like a window box that you stop at and you pay money to go on a certain road. Dad rolled down his window to get a ticket, and the guy in the booth had such a loud voice, he sounded like he was speaking through a megaphone. Hope y'all are having an awesome day! Manny started to fuss, and his pacifier came halfway out of his mouth. But luckily, Roderick had reacted quickly, and Manny fell back asleep. I think Mom was a little frustrated that Manny was having napping in the first place. She had marked a bunch of places on her map where she wanted us to stop and get out for some sightseeing, but now we had to keep driving. The problem I had with Manny's nap was that I really needed to get out of the car and stretch, but I couldn't. I tried to make myself comfortable, but with all the stuff piled around me, it was impossible. He couldn't do it. Luckily, my backpack was in arm's reach behind my seat because it had some books and other things I'd brought to entertain myself. Mom's always trying to get me to read stuff that's enriching or something that I can learn from. But when it comes to books, I know what I like. And ever since elementary school, my favorite books have been the ones in the Underpants Bandits series. The Underpants Bandits books are about these two kids named Bryce and Brody who go back in time and steal underwear from famous people so they can put them in a museum. A museum is a place you visit to look at things and to learn about different types of things that you may not see when you're at home. Underpants Bandits by Mick Davies. I know that sounds kind of ridiculous, but the books are actually pretty funny. And just as Van Gogh returned to his masterpiece, Bryce snatched the painter's favorite pair of boxers, which, thank goodness, were clean. The books are super popular with boys at my school, but the teachers hate them because of all the rude humor. Whenever a book report was due in 5th grade, all the boys in my class did theirs on one of the Underpants Bandits books, and that made my teacher, Mrs. Terry, hate them even more. Underpants Bandits and Shakespeare's Skivvies. Underpants Bandits and Napoleon's Breeches. Our class had a project where we had to write a letter to our favorite author, and of course, all the boys chose Mick Davies.